Ladies and gentlemen, dozens of U.S. Postal Service members are coming up with CV. And we all must be careful now. So, anything delivered to your house, it wouldn't hurt for you to sanitize it outside. If they leave your mail outside, take your sanitizer outside and spray it before you bring it in. Or some of you might have a slot in your door. Make sure you spray that mail or try to put on gloves and sanitize it before you take it into your house. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a story that came out from the government. With dozens of confirmed CV cases, USPS launches new measures to protect employees. As more than 3 dozen U.S. postal employees have tested positive for CV, the agency is now taking new steps to protect employees who remain concerned they do not have the proper resources to stay safe. USPS has struck a memorandum of understanding with its employees, labor unions, which give non career workers access to 80 hours of paid leave, enable individuals to take leave if they are vulnerable to CV or to take care of loved ones, and allow some groups of employees to work remotely. Unfortunately, with mail delivery, that cannot be done remotely, and it's considered an essential service. So it's one of those services that have to continue to work. The agency has committed to ramping up its effort to clean frequently touched items, though workers have raised concerns that they are not receiving adequate supplies like hand sanitizer. Now, I can see it for them more than really anyone out here. They definitely should have hand sanitizer delivering the mail. I do agree with that. Citing the national diversion to frontline healthcare workers of personal protective equipment, such as N95 masks, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention has recommended as most effective in preventing the spread of CV. U.S. Postal Service has instead promised to make standardized surgical masks and gloves available to workers upon request. To date, 40 postal workers have contracted CV. Many more are home on mandatory quarantine as they may have come in contact with infected individuals. And, with more and more people home, I can see how that's happening. You don't know how many people are directly taking the mail from these postal workers, and they may not know themselves that they have CV. USPS could soon see a major cash infusion as House Democrats on Monday floated a stimulus package to revive the slumping economy that included a draft proposal to eliminate the agency's outstanding debt owed to the U.S. Treasury. The agency ended fiscal 2019 with a bill of $11 billion. The House measure would allow the U.S. Postal Service to borrow up to another $15 billion. It's currently its current statutory borrowing limit. It would also provide a one-time payment of $20 billion into the Postal Service Fund. Many stakeholders have called for cash injection for the cash-strapped agency, which has historically endured significant downturns in revenue during the economic recessions. The Postal Service has committed to keeping the mail operational, noting the agency is part of the nation's critical infrastructure by delivering medicines, social security checks, and online purchases. In a statement, USPS said that it makes shelter in place and other social distancing restrictions possible. It stressed there is no evidence that COVID is being spread through the mail. Still, USPS did not rule out the possibility of shutting down operations in some areas, as it might during a hurricane or wildfire. We are actively monitoring all aspects of our business operations and functions, and we are highly confident in our ability to process and deliver the nation's mail and packages throughout this emergency. We do not expect disruption or degradation in the services we provide. If for some reason we need to curtail operations in a particular facility or area, activation of localized continuity of operation plans will be implemented to provide required support. They got it tough. You know, they only get one day off. The agency officials are directing letter carriers to take special steps to keep their distance from customers. Instead of asking for signatures, they will ask customers to provide their first initial, last name. So they enter the information electronically. I had some groceries delivered from Walmart yesterday, and the guy normally would, give me his phone and I would just sign my signature in their application. He just did it himself. He said, I'm not going to hand you the phone because of everything that's going on. He said, I'll just put your initials here. That way they know the groceries were delivered. So he did it himself. And I didn't care. That was fine. I understand. And I didn't really want to touch his phone. So it was good that he did that. He did not try to hand me the phone. So, ladies and gentlemen, they will politely ask customers to step back a safe distance or close the screen to their door so that may leave the item or the mail receptacle or an appropriate location by the customer's door. I don't make that much contact with my mail carrier, not unless I happen to be outside and he stops by at that moment. Really, other than that, I don't really make a lot of contact with him, you know? And I think, and that's before COVID and all that stuff was even known. I was not really making that much contact with him, and especially if you're a working person, you virtually never make contact with them. Your mail is there when you get home. Postal employees can use up to 80 hours of sick leave to care for dependents, including those home during school closures. Most non career employees, such as city carrier assistants, now have 80 hours of leave they can use in response to the CV outbreak. Any worker who contracts the virus or is forced into quarantine will receive paid leave. The agency previously instructed supervisors to adopt a liberal sick leave policy. So, they look like they're doing all that they can. It's a tough thing that they're involved with. You know, I think any type of job that you're doing outdoors, you always run the risk of encountering people. It may be people out walking their dogs or riding bikes. or somebody that just want to stop and talk to the mailman. I've seen that, you know. Maybe you should just refrain from doing all that stuff, even if you know your US Postal Service man or woman real well. Be on the side of safety. So, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, nobody is a superman or superwoman out here, so they are prone to getting this thing. But you never realize how critical this thing is until you see it impacting the services that you depend on. That's when you know how real it is. So, those of you that like to say everything is a hoax, kids staying home from school is not a hoax. That's real. People got to now look after their kids at home. They don't get to pack them up and send them to school. That's real. People running to apply for unemployment because their jobs shut down because of CV. That's real. That's real. I had to go on unemployment on the behalf of my husband. And it took me 5 hours to get onto the site to apply. It took 5 hours. That's not a hoax. When people are dying and the numbers are spreading every day, that's not a hoax. You know, at one point in time, when does anything become real to you? Okay, it's not real unless it affects you or your immediate situation. Well, that's some shitty ass thinking. But y'all, please tell me what you think. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.